Apostolic Letter on Education of Pope Leo XIV, Drawing New Maps of Hope, following 8. An Educational Constellation. I speak of a constellation because the world of Catholic education is a living and pluralistic network. Parish schools and colleges, universities and institutes of higher education, professional training centers, movements, digital platforms, service learning initiatives and school, university and cultural pastoral programs. Each star has its own brightness, but together they chart a course. Where in the past there was rivalry, now we ask the institutions to converge. Unity is our most prophetic strength. Methodological and structural differences are not burdens, but resources. The multiplicity of charisms, if well coordinated, composes a coherent and fruitful picture. In an interconnected world, the game is played on two boards, local and global. There is a need for exchanges of teachers and students, joint projects across continents, mutual recognition of good practices, and missionary and academic cooperation. The future demands that we learn to collaborate more and to grow together. Constellations reflect their own light in an infinite universe. As in a kaleidoscope, their colors intermingle, creating further chromatic variations. This is what happens in Catholic educational institutions, which are open to meeting and listening to civil society, political and administrative authorities, as well as representatives of the productive sectors and professional categories. They are required to collaborate even more actively with them in order to share and improve educational pathways so that the theory may be supported by experience and practice. History also teaches that our institutions welcome students and families who do not believe or who profess other faiths, but who desire a truly human education. For this reason, as is already the case, we must continue to promote participatory educational communities in which lay people, religious families and students share responsibility for the educational mission together with public and private institutions. 9. Navigating new spaces. 60 years ago, Gravissimum Educationis heralded a season of trust. It encouraged the updating of methods and languages. Today, this trust is being tested by the digital environment. Technologies must serve, not replace, the person. They must enrich the learning process, not impoverish relationships and communities. A university and a Catholic school without vision risk soulless efficiency, the standardization of knowledge, which then becomes spiritual impoverishment. Pastoral creativity is needed in order to inhabit these spaces, strengthening the formation of teachers, including in the digital sphere, enhancing active teaching, promoting self-learning and responsible citizenship, and avoiding any technophobia. Our attitude towards technology can never be hostile because technological progress is part of God's plan for creation, but it requires discernment in didactic planning, evaluation, platforms, data protection, and equitable access. In any case, no algorithm can substitute what makes education human: poetry, irony, love, art, imagination, the joy of discovery, and even learning from mistakes as an opportunity for growth. The decisive point is not technology, but the use we make of it. Artificial intelligence and digital environments must be oriented toward the protection of dignity, justice, and work. They must be governed according to criteria of public ethics and participation. They must be accompanied by adequate theological and philosophical reflection. Catholic universities have a decisive task to offer a diaconia of culture, fewer chair professorships, and more tables to sit around together without unnecessary hierarchies to touch the wounds of history and seek, in the spirit, the wisdom that springs from the lives of peoples. 10. The lodestar of the Compact on Education. Among the stars that guide our path is the Global Compact on Education. I gratefully accept this prophetic legacy entrusted to us by Pope Francis. It is an invitation to form an alliance and networks to educate in universal fraternity. Its 7 pathways remain our foundation, putting the person at the center, listening to children and young people, promoting the dignity and full participation of women, recognizing the family as the first educator, opening ourselves to welcome and inclusion, renewing the economy and politics in the service of humanity, and caring for our common home. These stars have inspired schools, universities, and educational communities around the world, giving rise to concrete processes of humanization. 60 years after Gravissimum Educationis, and 5 years after the Compact, history calls to us with fresh urgency. Rapid and deep changes expose children, teenagers, and young people to unprecedented fragility. It is not enough to conserve it. It must be relaunched. I ask all the educational bodies to inaugurate a season that speaks to the heart of the new generations, reconstituting knowledge and meaning, competence and responsibility, faith and life. The Compact is part of a broader global educational constellation. Charisms and institutions, though diverse, form a unified and luminous design that guides our steps in the darkness of the present time. To the 7th path, I would add 3 priorities. The first regards the inner life. Young people ask for depth. They need spaces for silence, discernment, and dialogue with their conscience and with God. The second regards the digital human. Let us educate in a judicious use of technology and of AI, placing the person before the algorithm, and harmonizing technical, emotional, social, spiritual, and ecological intelligence. The third regards an armed and disarming peace. Let us educate in non-violent languages, reconciliation, bridges, and not wars. Blessed are the peacemakers. Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Becomes the method and content of learning. We are aware that the Catholic educational network has a unique reach. It is a constellation that spans every continent, with a particular presence in low-income areas, a concrete promise of educational mobility and social justice. This constellation demands quality and courage. Quality in pedagogical planning, teacher training and governance. Courage in ensuring access for the poorest, in supporting fragile families, in promoting scholarships and inclusive policies. Evangelical gratuitousness is not rhetoric. It is a style of relationship, a method, and an objective. Where access to education remains a privilege, the Church must push to open doors and invent new paths, because losing the poor is equivalent to losing the school itself. This also applies to universities. An inclusive outlook and attention to the heart save us from standardization. A spirit of service revives the imagination and rekindles love.